fun. So I've got the bar. I just weighed it out at 155 grams, which if we do a little bit of math, hopefully is meaningful. But it's funny how beautiful the large crystals are after pouring that bar. You can kind of see them in the shine. It's very nice. I'm gonna cut it now. Alright, so I had thought that this was going to be about the middle. So let's see if I can't prove it. I'm gonna just hack at it with a chisel. Or, a cutting blade. And you just let me know if my shoulder gets in the way, Seems to be a problem recently. Nice. That's easy. So I've actually found it better to use the chisel on bigger cuts like this, especially when this isn't the intended shape, because you don't lose anything to the cutting of the saw. And also, how quick was that? It was like, 10 hits. But the best thing to do with the chisel, the cutting chisel, is use the biggest hammer you have. Don't wimp around with a little baby hammer. It just doesn't make any sense because you'll be wailing hard, and just let the mass do the work here. So now that we've got these cut, let's see how well I was on figuring out halfway. I've got 2.28 and 2.71. I was pretty close. One of them's a little bit over 2.5 and one of them's a little under 2.5. So that's fine. I think actually I was going to use this one as the candidate, but this one is much more, well, this one's heavier. Nah, I'm going to use the littler one and hammer it into more of a rectangle. This is a bit wide. Oh, actually, that width is pretty much perfect. And we were looking for like a 1/2 inch. So if it was this wide at the result, that'd be pretty awesome. But it's a pretty irregular right now, so I'm going to hammer it down into a more regular shape first. I'm going to do that on the anvil. I'm going at it very gently with a 3-pound sledge. I'm not really interested in getting too much movement. I'm just trying to get it a little bit more regular. So I'm just taking it down so that I can put it back through the rolling mill. It's got a lot of texture on this side, but that will roll out. I don't want to stress the grains too much. I'm not really going for that, but this is probably work hardened sufficiently now. And you can tell it's a little bit more uniform. 12 millimeters wide. Yeah, just about 12 millimeters wide across the whole thing here. And 6.5 millimeters, 7 millimeters, 6.5 millimeters. And the total length is just under 4 inches. 11.5, 6.5, and 4 inches. So yeah, this is going to get annealed and or re-melted. The grains in the center don't look great. They don't look bad, they just don't look great. So remelting this might be important. So I've got my charcoal block. It's still a little moist from the other day, but might as well. You can see my block here has failed in the center because I used the other side for melting for the last, year maybe? This thing is tired. Now I'm only going to use this side because the other side's basically blown through. Here we go. Alright, so I got a very good melt on all the surface here. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Which means that apart from being fully annealed, it has now restructured the surface to be fully malleable. The surface has been restructured here. So some of these valleys and mountains have been melted into each other, which is great, because otherwise I'd have to grind that away, and I don't want to lose metal. I'd almost say that this is about ready for rolling out. Kind of just the pour. Oh, you can see those beautiful crystals. The pour in the ingot mold was pretty good. Honestly, the ingot is very helpful, because then I don't have to do as much shaping. So when I draw this out, I just cleaned my rolling mill. Oh my gosh, I have to show you guys. It was so gross before, and it was chattering. But now it's smooth as butter. I used some grease, and I took everything apart. I took all these rollers out. I took the transmission, I guess, mechanism. This box here is sealed, but the bushings on the end, the gears behind the bushings there, everything was like really bad. And I think I found some chunks of silver that were messing with the smoothness of the movement here, because it was very crunchy. It was like so now it's as smooth as butter. I'll go get the lube. And here's the product I used. It says it's NSF certified, which is National Sanitation Foundation certification, which means that you can eat it in trace amounts. Obviously, they don't want you eating it, but it's a synthetic grease, and I guess it must be biochemically inert enough to warrant you can use it to lubricate your like KitchenAid mixer and not really have to worry about petroleum getting into your food. So that's good. Obviously, I'm not eating anything that comes off here, but since it does get on the rollers and all that stuff, it gets on my hands, and I guess I won't really have to worry about that, so that's good. I have to flatten this down a little bit more. I forgot the throw on my flat portion of my rolling mill is only like 5 millimeters, and we just measured this out to be 6.5. So I do actually have to go back to the anvil. So I'll take a time to make this even more regular. I was too excited about rolling. It's just a good feeling now that it's all clean. The anvil will have to do, because I literally can't move it through there yet. I will continue using this, I think. Can you see? Yeah. Still 6.5. Alright, got a little less than 6. Still 6.5 in the middle. I want to take this slow though, so I don't really need to melt it this time. All I need to do is anneal it, because I don't really need to resurface it again. I mean, it definitely looks a little bit more like a regular bar. That lumpy thing has worked itself out. I'm not really working this end because this is already the dimensions I want. I kind of put it on a little bit of a trapezoidal, no, rhombus. I put it on a little bit of a odd rhomboid angle here, so that's not good. I'm going to try to keep everything nice and square. But I'm going to have to do this a jillion more times and anneal it, because it's not thinning out, but it is stretching out a little bit. We're definitely over 4 inches now. Haven't really touched the end there, but that's okay. And you know what? This is a little bit more than 2 ounces, so I'm going to cut the ends off anyway. So these are allowed to be a little gnarly. I'm just going to cut them. That's why you give yourself extra. We got a little pudgy belly here that I got to take out. Back to the anvil. So we're almost at 5 inches, and this thing is still chunky in the middle. I'm trying to work it down, but it keeps fighting me. There it is on the side. It's gonna be good. It does look pretty regular, except for the tails here. Tails are a little thin comparatively, but that's just kind of how it goes. Back to annealing. Alright, I finally got it so that it squishes through. So that's good. It's at 5.5 inches, so it's got a ways to go, but I'm gonna try to get the walls nice and square now. Alright, on the jaggedy end we have 10.1 millimeters. On this end we have 9.8. Yeah. I'm just about 6 inches, but again, I'm going to cut some of this off, so. But it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty regular, other than being a little off square. Even that's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and squash this down some more. After I squash it, I think we're putting a hammer texture on it, which will look good. And it'll also make it so that it doesn't really matter how square it is, because the hammer is going to really mask a lot of the imperfections, so that's good. As you can see, we're almost at 7 inches. I'm going to go ahead and probably snip some off this now. So I'm just going to do some fractions. At 7 inches, it's 12% too long because it's 2.28. So 12% too long, 17 centimeters. And I need to get rid of 12%. So that's going to be 17 multiplied by 0.88. Okay, so on this side we're going to cut that, and on that side we're going to cut off that, and that'll end us up with 15. Yeah, I'm just going to smash the ends off. I'm not going to cut it. It doesn't need to be beautiful. Can you see it? Yeah. I'm just going to smash these ends off. Okay. That end. Take this. Okay. So, if I did my math correctly, this will be an everlasting love. 1.99. Alright. I cut off a little bit too much. That's okay. It's just a little bit less than a half an inch wide. So when I hit it with the hammer, it's gonna spread out a little bit, and that will be perfect. Should probably file down those ends. That looks a little cleaner now. That's good. 6 3/4 inches now. Gotta anneal it again. Boo. Alright, so I annealed it again. And now I have this beautiful silver bar. It's a little cloudy again because they've been annealing, but that's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and hammer it out on the anvil. Alright, so that worked out okay, for sure. That was the initial hammering, just probably to give the texture, bring it out a little bit longer. We're just around 7 inches now. Let's see, it's a little bit wider. Yep, it's just about 1/2 inch wide. It looks pretty good. Get some nice side texturing on the walls there. Gotta anneal it again, it's hard as a rock. Alright, so I'm just gonna push down on this now and flatten it out. That looks good. Yeah, the texture looks good. It's a little cloudy again. That's just kind of what happens. Now I'm gonna take some pictures to show my customer what it looks like. Yeah, this is what it looks like. It's a mini lighter. Well, since we left off, I have built an alphabet organizer because I needed more stamps. So now I got a bunch, and they're kind of organized in alphabetical order, and then over here is just numbers and just chaos. Feeling pretty good about that. I bought a new set for this bracelet. I've just finished stamping, and you don't need to know what it says, but my customer should be happy. I ordered some new typefaces, so I got one that fits the words pretty good. And now we got one last anneal, and then I'll bend it up, and then we'll polish. Alright, here we go. Alright, yeah, it looks pretty good. Still got some bend in it, but it looks pretty nice. Then we'll give it a proper polish. Ah, poo. I forgot to put my stamp inside. Let's see if I can get it. Yep, there's a big cuff. Oh, measurements. Here we go. We got 10.5 millimeters and 3 millimeters. Alright, I'm gonna polish it up off screen. You don't want to watch. Alright, we got the yucky powder on, sorry, we got the polish. We got the polish on there now, so, but it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go wash it off, and then we'll take some nice pictures in the sunshine tomorrow. Looks good. Bought a little Lazy Susan. Looks kind of nice. So this is the piece of the silver that I didn't use, and that's the rest of it. Looks pretty good. Lazy Susan looks pretty good too. Whee! So obviously I've stamped this one, but not all of my pieces need to be stamped. This is just the first one I made for this design, so he gets the photo shoot. That's just kind of how it works. You're first in line, you get the photo shoot. So it's very substantial. It's heavy. It's funny because most of my pieces are heavy, but this thing is double heavy, which is it's super fun. And like I say, don't be afraid of bending the silver, it's not going to break. I mean, don't bend it 1,000 times in the same spot, but these bars, since I draw them out, they're super strong. If this was cast, it wouldn't be as strong, but it's drawn, so it's got lots of beautiful crystals that go long. They've been stretched out. You can see in this one, the crystals are all just where they were poured. They're just they're super shiny, and they haven't been drawn out. These are just, they froze in the way they are, and in the sunlight you can really see the crystals. When we draw those crystals out, they elongate, and they double up, you know, triple up. They stretch out. It's like a rope, you know. So when you draw it out, it gets nice and strong in that long direction. So that's what we did. Beautiful. So thank you for watching. Fun.